feeling, man?
I've been looking forward to this engagement all week because when you came through this, Garth, I have something going on over here. When you came through a couple weeks ago, you really had a lot of, well, you always know that you have a lot to say, but you really threw a lot of important stuff out to all of us. So we were so happy to get you in our little show right away. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's just
It's a pleasure to be here. I really respect what you both do. I think that you both are very good at what you do. You make the guests feel welcome, and that's a underrated aspect of being a host. As a person who does hosting myself, I'm really thinking about like teaching a master class to so many other people, and I would love for you guys, if we do that, to
absolutely
combine because
you said something kind of important. We as artists, we think about the content, what we want to say, but there is so much when it comes to performing our art that we don't think about. What am I going to wear? How am I going to stand? Where am I going to go? So when you talk about hosting, especially if you want to be, engaging with other artists, like, and it's just as yourself, you have to think about those things. How do I make somebody feel welcome? Because everybody's got their own thing. So I appreciate that. Andy, what do you think? You're
No,
definitely
I'm lost for
on that.
words. No, I feel like it's like for example, let's say I'm a pastor and I preach at your church, right? You always have to honor the pastors, right? Same thing. We have this platform. You're a guest in our platform. It's important to honor you and to show, hey, look, there's other stuff out there as well. You have to honor those people who come through and who believe in what we're doing. And that's very important. I feel like that's a lot. I feel like that's lacking these days. I think there's not a lot of honoring of people, and I think we got to go back to that. So I definitely agree that we gotta teach the younger generation, man, because it's like I go to work and they can't even say good morning. Like,
right. And it's funny because like with hosting, it's a lot of little minor things that make a big difference. For example, like I did a show recently, and so one of the pieces that I performed, the host had heard me do some months earlier. And sometimes saying something as simple as this, oh, I've heard that piece before, but it's still like what it does is it almost kind of takes a little
yeah,
away from it, as if like, yeah, we've heard
As if
that
you're not bringing
same
something
old piece
special. When you are
before.
bringing something special, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
being a hardcore.
right.
When people go see their favorite, music bands or whoever, they want to hear the hits. They want to hear the hits. They came for the hits. They don't always want to hear what's new, but I hear you on that. Something like that does kind of give you a little
Yeah,
like, what are you trying to really
yeah.
say here? Because I was to the point
Right.
of saying, I heard this piece before because I remember it. I remember how great it was the first time. So you could look at it on that side of the coin. But as a host, how
but
are we
it's the
listening?
delivery, right? But I feel like there's a delivery of that as well. It's how you deliver that statement. You can say, yeah, we've heard this piece before. And I know you guys enjoyed. No, it's like you shouldn't say it like that. It's like a right and a wrong way to say something like that. And it's like I think that's what it was like that. I think that's what it is too. It's the delivery. It's the approach, and
And this
that
is
matters.
actually,
That makes a big difference.
Right.
Andy, this is why I'm so happy our guest.
And one piece out of 15, right? One piece out of 15 that you've heard before, it's like, if I'm giving you a bunch of new, so what if I give you, the old Linkin Park song? You
Right,
know what I mean? It's
right.
like, hey, it's a classic. You know what I'm saying? And I love Linkin Park.
Yes,
Let's get out of here. You know what I mean?
yes. Yup.
But
Lincoln Park, my friend.
I hate
No, no,
to
go ahead,
just
Angela.
because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my thought if I don't say right. That's why I'm so happy that you're here to talk with us today. Because being a performer, you also do a lot of workshops with artists. But kind of like I kind of take it to a different kind of analogy. Kind of like if you've ever been in bowling leagues. There is an etiquette to bowling leagues where, you participate in the 50-50. You don't go up to the approach at a certain time. And people know the etiquette. So when you're coming new, how do we make the etiquette known for new people? Or what is the etiquette? Have we defined the etiquette? And then two, what I really wanted to make the point was comedians and also musicians, again, with comedians wanting to hit the same jokes sometimes, but with that etiquette. What is that etiquette when it comes to performing arts? Like, that's why I'm so happy you're here to kind of give us, really shed the light on like what it means to be, you know, an incredible, prolific performer and what that all looks like.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But, you know, like just touching on that, in order to be effective, I believe there's certain small things that you have to do that really make a big impact. For example, when it comes to being able to affect a group of people, to affect the crowd, I believe that you have to connect with them, right? And so one thing that I do, particularly like in my live shows, is when I'm doing a piece, I'm going to try to catch an individual in the crowd, and I'm going to try to have a moment with you, right? So depending on the piece kind of dictates where that moment is going to be, right? And if I know you or not, whether you're male or female, that's going to all depend, you know, how I come at you and the way that I approach it. So for example, last week I had in Hollywood, I had a feature at one of the biggest places in the area. And there was a group of people sitting up front. And so one of the individuals was recording me. And so, you know, she didn't have to do that. So when I said certain pieces about, you know, how much I appreciate those who support me, like I look directly at her, right?
I felt that.
Right. So it's like so when she hears me say that about my fans and about those who are at the show, who's paying the money, right, the $15, $20 to come see me that particular night, you know, I wanted her to understand you're one of those ones. And the fact that you're recording me right now is an expression of that appreciation. And so I want to thank you for your support, right? So it's that audience contact that now allows me to have a connection with that individual, right? And so those little things, just having a moment, right? Looking at a person for 5 seconds, you have a moment with each other. And that's an underrated aspect of being able to connect with your audience as a speaker or as a performer.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Andy, I want to give you an opportunity to respond first because, you know, I like to go off the rails at times. So
No,
so
it's
many
fine.
things were said that I'm so absolutely agree with and want to talk about a little bit more. Go ahead, Andy. Did you have something?
No, so I guess my question is, how, crap, because you know I was thinking about everything you were saying, so I'm just enjoy. Again, I just love to listen. I love to enjoy. I love to embrace every conversation we're having. But if we could backtrack all the way to the beginning, how did this exact thing start for you? What made you decide, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to start writing. I want to start performing. Can you walk me to that moment?
Very powerful question. I appreciate that. So kind of the genesis of the situation, I have been a public speaker for many, many years, dating back into the 90s, right? So having experience giving talks or speeches or things of that nature in front of groups of people, upwards of 10,000 people, I kind of developed a stage presence. And so I got used to being able to put words together. Now, primarily, I was putting words together in a way to be able to move and motivate people, to inspire people, to be inspirational, because I was primarily focusing in on spiritual things, right? I had some tragic events occur. And so I always loved music, right? I'm a big music person. My family is very musical. My father's a musician, right? And so I started writing songs, and that's how it initially started. I started writing songs based off of what I was experiencing. And I'm a person who loves love. And so I was writing a lot of love songs. And what I started doing was I had like a 9-to-5 at that time. And I started sharing it with some of my coworkers. And, they were like, man, like this is pretty good. And then there was this one young lady who was one of my supervisors who I shared a piece with her. And she was like blown away. And she was like, bro, have you ever heard of spoken word? And I was like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I really don't know much about it. And she said, like, that's what you're doing. She's like, you know, that's a beautiful song, but like, you can actually do spoken word with those lyrics. And I was like, okay. And so she told me about open mics. And so I went to one, and the response that I got from the crowd that night just blew me away. I was like, what? The way they were reacting. And I was like, okay, this is something. And so I pretty much got hooked from that point forward. And then in about 2012, I actually started entering slams and started doing features. And that's when I turned professional back in 2012 is when I became a professional spoken word artist who gets paid to do my craft. And so, you know, for about the last 11 years now, I've been professional, performing all over the country, and, you know, being able to share my gift with others. And I started teaching some years ago, helping others to learn how to do the things that I do, and the things that I've seen masters do. And so I've learned from the masters. And so I feel like it's incumbent upon me to take the knowledge and experience that I have and the knowledge that the masters have given to me and now transmit that to the next group of people, whether they're older than me or younger. Because most of the people that I'm actually teaching now are older than me, you know, but
I like that.
But they're not as invested in the craft as I am, right? They're not as invested in the craft as I am, because this is what I do, right? All I do is perform, teach, and write. That's what I do for a living, right? So
can you, okay, because I'm trying to absorb everything you're saying. So can you talk to us about basically, okay, so what is the difference between, let's say, what you do and opposed to like just going to a random open mic? Because you talk about professionally, and then there's just someone that just does it just to do it. Can you walk me through that difference?
I had the same question, Annie. What was the
transition? Because it's interesting, right? Because you mentioned a lot of aspects about getting paid to do this, and the fact that you get to utilize everything you've learned to give back. Yes,
those are things that, like, again, what was, how was that transition, and it's specifically, what was the moment that this was the moment that I transitioned to? I'm not just doing this, I am this. That's why I feel like I can share this and help bridge that gap. Like, we're building bridges, and that's why we had to have you on the show. When you opened up you're on the open mic, which of course you're professional, you know, you do this. This is not a surprise that we want you on the show, but what's the transition? How do us amateurs get into that? Because I'm all about driving cross country now, stopping all these little cool places. So how do we transition to that?
Yeah, so just like with most things, building respect and relationships are two of the very important aspects of things. You build respect by actually being good at what you do, right? And so that's why I always tell people that it's important to master your craft, because if you are good at what you do, you become undeniable. And when you become undeniable, now people don't mind having you be a part of their world, right? So either they'll ask you, or if you ask them, they'll be like, heck yeah, why not? Like, you're good at what you do, right? So it's that aspect of things. So in order to put yourself in that position, you have to become undeniable. And that's why I encourage people to take classes, you know, with individuals like myself, because we know what it takes to get there. And so I can see your strengths and your weaknesses and help you to understand the things that you need to do in order to step your game up. Because I know what these curators are thinking. I know what these individuals who host these shows are thinking. I know what they want. They want someone that's going to make them look good, right? Because ultimately, if you're a host or you're a curator, you want to have people on there to where they say, you know, that person really hosts a great show because they always have great talent on their show, right? You watch Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or whoever else, because not only are they good, but they also have great guests, right? And so you have to become a great guest, and the only way in which you can become a great guest is by becoming a beast at what you do. So that's the genesis of it. But then you also have to cultivate relationships, and not just business, but like genuinely care about people. And that's the thing about me personally. I really care about human beings. And so I get emotionally attached to individuals that I respect, right? And so, you know, connecting with you two, for example, it's like, I really like these folks. Like, they solid. You know what I mean? So when you're going through something, I'm going to actually express genuine appreciation, because it's like, hey, if you're down, it's like, hey, you know, my bro is down, my sister's down. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Even though we don't know each other, but it's like my respect for you causes me to have that desire to be there. And so I think that those are two of the biggest aspects of things: becoming a beast at what you do, and then also cultivating relationships genuinely.
And I think
very important. Yeah.
Andy, before you say anything, there's a few things I got to say right off the bat that I just want to repeat and echo back to our audience that I definitely heard that was super important for just this moment in general. Is that, yeah, because I got to be honest, I stole a lot of that knowledge that between activity and achievement, and I dropped it as soon as I got back to work with my students. Don't let people just give you stuff to do. Stop just doing stuff. What are you doing? Why are we here? I don't care I don't need you punching holes in a paper. You're not doing anything. Because again, that's so important too. Really let's go back to one, because that's why I think you're not seeing the youth yet, is because what I'm seeing now is they're not seeing how to become great. I got to be great. They're expecting greatness to happen because they are great. There's nothing wrong, but they don't know that they got it. It takes work. They don't know how much work
Like,
it
there's
takes to look like
responsibility,
work at all. And that's
right?
what you're talking about. And that's the stuff. It's the unwritten rules that you're trying to also kind of embark on people that just have the talent, have the words, but they don't have the showmanship, and nobody's going to hear their incredibleness. So let's go to 2 real quick. 2 is genuinely caring about people. Absolutely, because that's where the content comes from. Great content comes from great people. And we are a species of people that work together, and building those bridges or making the connections. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but again, I just want to repeat this important information to everybody, because I think that's what Andy, all of us are trying to do. Build the bridges to connect all of us, because we're connected, but Andy, as we've talked a lot, we're connected, but we're not connecting. So how do we connect? We have a good atmosphere where people feel comfortable, then people feel like I can put the showmanship where I don't have to show you who I really am. We can relax a little bit because nobody's going to judge me or make me feel a certain kind of way. And then that's where true healing, true community, and true growth comes from that. And I think there's a third one that I think maybe you did hit on, and maybe you can combine the two, is the fact that you're going back and getting more by teaching and bringing. I know caring about people, but that's more about just being a great human being in general.
It's the passion that you have. Yes.
Content comes from. I mean, there could be great content from a shitty human being, but if you want to be great, you gotta be you're that great if you want to be that kind of low on the totem pole as far as caring about people are concerned. But also, we need to build a bridge in order to build a strong community and bring those people together, because there is not an audience yet, so to speak, as far as some of our other musicians and stuff like that. But we are making this happen. So, Andy.
Well, I mean, one thing I could say about this, since we started doing Unraveled Influence, that I've had people come up to me and say, hey, you know, pretty much asking me, yo, like, how do you go about the whole podcasting thing? Like, I want to do one too. I've had 2 people already ask me, like, and I had showed people already, hey, this is what I do, and there's different ways you can do it. So I don't mind showing people, hey, let's build that relationship, because in the beginning of this whole thing, I said, you know, I don't want to be the only person doing that. I like to be the one that built that starts the bridge, so we can build the bridge. But how do you? But how do we build a bridge? In order for you to build a bridge, you have to connect with people. It's one thing to connect, but are we connecting? So when we connect all together genuinely, then that build little by little, the bridges get built. Does that make sense?
It does, absolutely, Andy. But I think we got to go back to point
Absolutely.
number one, and I think that doesn't get said enough. You got to be good at your shit. You cannot,
Yes.
like, Andy and I, we're pretty freaking green. So for you to say such incredible things about, like, oh, your guests feel comfortable. Like, I'm actually checking out your show, and I travel across the country. I'm an award winner. You know, I'm bi-coastal because I started off in New York, and now I'm in, but so for you to feel so welcome, we're still working on our shit. Because again, you can't be showing up with some
Yeah, and this is a
stuff,
rebranding, technically speaking, too, which is crazy. Because like before I met
That's
you,
why it's so
Angela, like
important.
again, this this thing has been around since what 2020, but this is just now getting to where what I was hoping to be, and here we are having conversations, connecting. To connect with others, and hopefully they can all connect with us. And now, speaking of connecting, I wanted to ask, why don't you give the people a taste of how your work is for those who's never heard of you before, as far as your work? Like, give us a piece right now, my friend.
Okay, yeah, no problem at all. So basically, this particular piece here, I'm going to display some various tools of writing, right? I'm going to go through some of the various tools of how you can manipulate words, play with words, and things of that nature. So this is a love piece dedicated to those who are lovers, all right? So, lady, I've longed to have a lifetime sentence with you. Yes, I've longed to have a lifetime spent just with you, because to me, you are spectacular. You're exquisite. And that's why, my precious, precious princess, previously and presently, I've pondered and prayed perpetually about the possibility of us potentially being together permanently. And I'm straight learning that we have so many things in common. And it's uncommon that someone as uncommon as you will have so many things in common with me. And like a comma, you make me pause. And you have to forgive me, because I just never knew that I would find somebody like you, with a mind and body like you. And the word called fine, ooh, you embody it too. And in my mind, the two of us are bound to be bound together. In the future, we're bound to be found together. And together, I think that we can break down some bounds together. And that's why I endeavor to tell you my thoughts about you. And here's some of them. You occupy me. I feel your aura and my presence at all times. And every moment I spend with you feels like I pitched the perfect game in Game 7 of the World Series. And I'm serious about the things that I say to you. Every single day you display that you are worthy of my time. And like Babyface in the deal said, I only think of you on 2 occasions. That's day and night. I go for broke if I could be with you. Only you can make it right. But wait, there's more I need to tell you. For instance, I believe that you and your feelings are sacred. Plus, I think you are an empress, and I feel blessed just to know you. And every other girl don't mean a thing to me, because you're it for me. No other girl could be what you have been to me. And essentially, every time I look at you, I get more hooked on you, could write a book on you, because the things you say and do, just like the letter V, I come after you. I feel enraptured too. Therefore, for as long as you're in my life, I promise to pour my all in all into our relationship. And I vow to honor your emotions, your family, your children. But most of all, I'm going to honor our wonderful, wonderful friendship. Your heart is celestial. Thank you.
Wow. Whew. Wow. Wow. Wow, bro. Oh my God. I'm like, oh man. Wow.
So if you've just been joining us, we have Prolific, the professional poet, who just put an incredible performance out there for us. I mean, how lucky are we tonight? Amazing. That's why Fridays have become my favorite day of the week.
Yes.
Also, if you had been with us the whole time, you could actually showcase how the performance really matters. The way, I want to go deep into the words, of course, but since you're highlighting that nonverbal kind of soft unwritten rules, that the cadence, the performance, you can tell we want to watch you, we want to listen to you, we're engaged with you the whole time. I mean, obviously, but Andy, talk to me about those words.
Oh my God, that's true devotion right there, man. The way, because I could just say, "Hey, I love you forever," and that's it. No, he's talking about like this is true intimacy. This is intimacy here, which I feel like is missing in relationships. It's about pretty much devoting yourself to the emotion, the feelings, and why it's sacred. Like I love that. Walk me through that line where. Can you repeat that line again with the how your feelings are sacred? Like, can you talk to me about that line? Because I think that's very important. I feel like a lot of people, whether it's in marriage or relationship, I feel like that's not stressed enough.
Yeah. So basically, I say that I believe that you and your feelings are sacred. Plus, you are an empress, and I feel blessed just to know you. So basically, what I'm saying there is I believe that just like a holy book, right? The Bible, the Quran, the whatever, right? The Pentateuch, whatever religion you are, just like you view that as being something that is holy, that's sacred, something that is to be cherished and to be held in the highest of esteem, right? Something that you view as something you venerate. That's the way that I believe that you should look at the woman that you're with. Or in the case of a woman towards a man, for example, that's how you should look at the man that you're with. You should view that person as being sacred, but not just them, their feelings, right? Because notice the words I said, your feelings and emotions are sacred. So even the things that I don't necessarily agree with, I view those things as being sacred. Why? Because it comes from you. Because I love you like that. I view you as a person who's just this short of someone who I worship, right? And so I view your feelings as being something that is sacred, holy, heavenly, divine, right? And so that's the concept behind that. And that's the type of love that, I have dwelling in me that I want to give and so forth. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the concept of that.
Important. I feel like a lot of relationships don't really honor those things anymore. I think that's what, it's like I said before, I think that's what's missing, that's what's lacking. And like when I married my wife, that's one thing I always promised her, that no matter how crazy life gets, I would try my best to always put God first in everything we do. And I would never make you feel like your feelings don't matter, your emotions don't matter. Because they do matter. It's important. Because if we just say, oh, everything's fine, and it's really not fine, and we don't talk about it, the more things build up, the more eventually it's not going to work out. You get what I'm saying? And I grew up at a time where, like, my parents really didn't, even though my parents were together for 40 years before my dad passed away, but there were things that were never talked about back when I was growing up that me and my wife make sure we touch on, because we have a 4-year-old child that he needs to see that, hey, look, yes, my parents have a great relationship. Yes, is it always, Candyland? No, it's not. But he needs to see that. He needs to understand that, hey, this is how life is sometimes. We do struggle sometimes. We do argue about things that it's just what it is, And it's like, I love the fact that you touched on those things, because that's important. It matters. So thank you for that. Thank you for talking about that, breaking that down like that, because it matters and it's not talked about enough, in my opinion. All right, just how are you?
I wanted to say that we brought our
What's up, Just
on, but I did have a quick comment too about that whole situation too. You described, what you had inside of you, what kind of love it should be, and because again, if we're taking care of each other, we're putting each other in a place where we're bettering each other and growing, and these are all good things. There's also the opposite of that, and it's very difficult, especially when I've been in a situation where I'm with somebody or in the process of trying to get away from somebody that for so long I thought it was completely different than what it really was, and you're thinking that it's a certain kind of way, and then it just kind of, holy shit, it was totally the opposite. even though you feel complicit in it, you know, you knew that it was wrong the whole time, but yet you didn't think it was as wrong as it was. Any comments on that real quick?
Wow, that's scary though. What you said. When you're done, I have something to say about that because that's wow.
Just
Yeah, it's funny because of the way that I love and because of my loyalty factor and the loyalty in which I have and just the natural empath that I am, I've come to see this about relationships in general. And some people may disagree with me, but I really feel strongly about this. In every relationship that you have, no matter who it's with, there's always going to be someone who loves more than the other, right? That's just simply how it is. The husband is going to love more, the wife is going to love more, right? It's just simply like that. Your parent is going to love you less or more than your brother or sister. It's reality.
I would say yes. I'm not going to disagree with this point, but I'm going to say they're going to showcase it in a way that's more quantifiable, so we can put it like that. But absolutely, because somebody is going to be maybe taking care of something more or taking something on their shoulders more, and that's what you're meaning by push and pull. But sometimes it changes. It grows.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth. Was that going to be maybe another point where we're going to go with that?
Wow. Wow. Yo, I was like, you guys are touching on things. That's why I'm like, wow.
Can I ask this and can I ask a clarifying question? And this may be a can of worms out there, but I am a parent of multiple children. I have 2 children. It would be very unfair for me to say that I love one of my children more than the other. Would I enjoy one of my children maybe more than the others at times? Hell yeah. Does it change? Definitely. I got teenagers now, and they're both exactly like me in totally different ways, and they're all
I've heard
all
that
loud.
teenagers are called meanagers. I think it makes sense.
Listen, I work with teenagers. I actually really like teenagers in general, just my own teenagers hate me.
You should be careful to say it out loud. I'm sorry.
But just thank you for joining us. I know that you have a lot of things that you want to contribute to this conversation. I know that you want to help honor our prolific poet here as well. So thank you for joining us. I know it's so late for you, and I appreciate your time always.
Gang, yo, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I need to keep an eye on the time. I'm glad you just said about the time. I've got a show where I'm featuring just in a little bit, in half an hour on YouTube. So yeah, I'm actually awake for a reason, for more than just being awake, because I'm awake here. But also that I see Pro Poet, I see gang, yo. Well, jump on the vibes in it. Thanks for letting me. And I've been writing poetry lately. I've just been like, yeah,
so good to see you, sis.
You know that, King.
So good to see you, sis. And Just Star is one of the ones who actually has been a supporter of mine, and I really, really appreciate the kindness and the encouragement that she gives to myself and to others. And to me, that's the best of what this poetry world is. One of the things that I'm on a mission to do is to not just make it where we as poets are supporting each other in ways like this, but where we truly in the trenches support each other to where you could become like family with each other, so that as we go through the highs and lows of life, we literally are family, because we're more powerful together than we are separate, right? If we combine our resources financially, emotionally, and otherwise, we can have a huge impact on spoken word and poetry and make it to where all of us are in a position in which we can get paid well, in which we can build generational wealth, and also where the next generation of poets coming up can be in a position in which they can make a living doing nothing but this art that they love.
I muted myself because I don't want to ever interrupt, but you said everything I want to say right now with what you're saying is we need what's hard with the art world is art is not valued in the way that it is valued in different. Absolutely, I don't need to describe that to anybody. However, and I was like, because I want to help, I want to give other artists, money and stuff, because I want to buy their books. We want to support each other, but financially, the value has to go financially. But right now, it's so hard because the value that we feel mostly is just in the work. And building the community is how we need to switch that value by getting that audience. We have to market ourselves to everybody else who may not be like, here's the question I've always brought up before is, other than a poet or somebody who writes, who's in the audience of a poetry spoken word, you know? So we have to bring that atmosphere that, why do I want to be here? Because it's fucking cool. People just don't understand. It's fucking cool. It's real. It's raw. That's how we feel things, connect, grow. And you're absolutely right. And I think this is part of what we're trying to do here tonight. And as we continue to have these conversations, how do we have to put value, we have to value each other. And even though it's just going out, we might not be able to financially support each other necessarily, but going to there, staying there, shouting out, hey, they're doing something, knowing what's going on. That's part of it. And we will build the audience by everybody who is connecting up and down, as our friend Prolific. We know Joe Star has been connecting us across the globe. We're almost at the beginning stages of, I think, that's
just.
I hope.
No, I was gonna say, yeah.
That's exact. I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, that's fine. No. What you're saying is that was always the vision I had, because when I think about that, and I'm gonna annoy the crap out of you, Angela. I'm sorry with this, but I'm always gonna bring up Allen Ginsberg. I'm sorry. I'm always gonna bring that guy up, because back in the 50s, going into the 60s, that's really what it was. That was the bridge to the 60s and stuff, and he used poetry as a way to connect with his audience, with his people, tried to sympathize with people. He talked about, oh, well, why would they tripping on acid? Why would they go into these rallies? Why would they going against Vietnam War and all that? Why would they talking about that? And he wrote about how he felt, but he was more focused on, oh, but how did they feel? Why did they feel that way? And why was it important that they fight for the peace that they were fighting for against the army and all this other stuff? Like that's important, and this is what I hope for, because I feel like 2020 we had something of that magnitude, especially when the George Floyd thing happened. Everybody got together and everyone was just like honoring him and just writing pieces about him and just really making that statement. And even though, like I said, but I think part of that too, it had to do with the lockdown, because everybody was in their homes and Instagram was all we have, but Instagram, like, that helped cultivate something that, like, so special. Like, because obviously when the lockdown was done, everybody had to go back to their things, but I feel like there was a renaissance there that I feel like we could slowly get to now in a more profound way. And Carlos, you pretty much just said it. Like, everything you just said is exactly the vision that I want. Like, when let's say when we all pass on, I want people to look back and be like, wow, I remember when we all got together and we all got this. Because you live in California. She lives in Australia. Please correct me. Just where do you live exactly? Yeah.
UK.
Australia.
UK.
Donut. Crikey, mate.
So I'm saying, I live in Jersey. You live in Cleveland. It's like, but somehow.
No, wait. You live in Jersey.
Yeah, I live in dirty Jersey. Even though I'm from New York, I'm originally from Brooklyn. But the point is, there's a connection we're building here. We're connecting, and that's what it all matters. And it's like, we need more of that. There's a genuine intimacy that's happening right now. We're breaking bread that's never been broken before, and I think that's what it should be. That's how it should be. Oh, there goes the cat.
Yeah, and it's small things, right? It's small things. For example, sometimes when it comes to sharing people's content or liking people's content, sometimes, we act as if we're asking a person to let us tongue kiss them. Like, look, I'm simply asking you to share a post. I'm not asking to play tonsil hockey, sis. I'm not asking, you know what I mean? Like, relax. So that is one of the biggest things too, that people only share a lot of times or like someone's stuff if they believe that it can in some way be of advantage to them or be of clout to them, right? Ooh, if I like so-and-so's posts all the time, or if I share their stuff, then it's more likely that I get a chance to get mentioned by them right? Or that I'm going to be friends with them, which is going to help my career. No, if we all do that for each other, that shows camaraderie, that shows community, and then now we're helping each other. So it's like, don't make it seem like a person is asking for a tongue kiss when they just ask you to share a post.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't
Like,
agree more. But I will say this. For those who are those opportunistic, trying to, let's say, social jump up into the poetry community, let them, because that's not, they're going to get found out, obviously, through whatever means. Poor intentions always come out poorly. So we just
See, but this is why.
bad intentions. So yeah, exactly. We cannot highlight the negativity. Let's keep building the brand of the positivity. What are we doing to keep connecting and valuing each other? Like, I think tonight, definitely, we got to give a giveaway tonight. We got to do a giveaway. We got to keep giving each other our work out to each other. So let those who are like,
because eventually we want to.
I think it's okay to say this.
Yeah, because eventually we
showing the way, and people like it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like you know what classroom you want to be in, because that classroom makes you feel a certain kind of way. There's nothing we can do about anything other than what we can control. So as much as we want to highlight, don't do that. We know not to do that. We'll make you uncomfortable later. Let's keep highlighting what we are doing well. Sorry, Andy, I can't make a point to
No. So, two things. One, I love that classroom analogy. That's an awesome analogy, the classroom, because we know what classroom we want to be. I like that. Yeah. And then two, it's also about, and this is something I've learned in this journey since I've been doing this poetry community. Again, I've been doing this since 2018, 2019, but I didn't start the podcasting part until 2020. So now, one thing I've learned too, it's like, yeah, you have to set boundaries, because not everybody that are doing this is doing it for the right reasons, like you said. I feel like what we're doing is for the right intentions, and I like to hope, the motives are correct, because you know what, it's like you said, I want to do. Remember how we started doing giveaways and stuff? Like that's another way. Yeah, we have the podcasting. That's how we feature artists. We don't do the whole, okay, every day we do a post feature. Rather, we do an interview feature, and then we do the open mic right after, because that's a good way to engage with the audience and make people feel welcome. You want to engage, have a discourse, because sometimes it's not about, I'm going to read my piece and be out. It's like, hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me about, what inspired that piece. And that's important. Absolutely. That is very important. And you feel, wait, hold on.
I'm sorry, because I got to connect it to Carlos's, and I don't want to lose it, because we were having a conversation.
No, I'm not. No.
How do we get the money?
Okay, but.
Because it takes money to
No, right, but,
and we want to do that.
But I kind of lost my thought now. Never mind.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is where you got to be good at your craft. Number one is you got to make sure you know that you're using your colors and you're not running over the rails. But like you said before, we have to get this into a money revenue opportunity in general. One, we have the value. The quality of the work is valuable. We are not getting the quality of work, payment for our artists, our writers, period. I mean, we can talk teachers too, but that's not what we're here for. But if Andy and I can figure out a way to monetize the podcast, then I want to put out more giveaways where we're sending things out, but getting a summer reading, if you were here last week, Miss Lene Monroe talked about her book. I got my summer reading book for the week, and I'm here to talk about the
queen right there, Lene Monroe. Come on,
so,
gang.
How can I get this book into our group's hands? Well, we got to support each other. We got to value each other. That means financially too. I think that's an important point that you made. How do we bring
we was talking about this? Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm muted.
Because Andy jumped on a show that I was on recently, or one of my shows. Sorry, I do shows as well, guys. Sorry. And like Andy jumped on the show, and we was talking about the same thing. We was like, yo, if people don't value us, if we don't value ourselves, no one's gonna value us. And stop telling me, oh, I'm gonna acknowledge you. I'm gonna share your post. Great, thank you. Because I do artwork. It takes me hours and hours and hours. My materials are free. My time is free, and you've just shared it. So now I'm gonna feed my cats off of that. Thank you so much.
But as I'm saying, but back,
go ahead, Andy.
yeah. No, but back to what I was saying before, that's a form of connection, right? Because it matters. Your work, your words, your art, it matters. And so with that being said, so Carlos, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on this right there, right now? I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, so I definitely feel that if we work together, and I mean genuinely come together, work together, support each other in every way possible. And that's why I mentioned like the simple things like shares, right? Like, sharing or liking something that you actually think is solid, right? Now, if it's just dried up trash, I can understand. But if it's something that you genuinely like, to share it and like it, those are little things that help to demonstrate support. Those are inexpensive, non-monetary ways of being able to support a person, right? Because what that does is, if a person is running a business, for example, like me, the more likes and shares that my information gets, that's more people that the algorithm is going to push it to, which means more opportunities for myself and other poets to be able to get a chance to be able to get paying gigs, to get clients, things of that nature, right? So that's why I mentioned that specifically, because it's those little things that add up that are non-monetary ways of being able to support and help your fellow poets. But like I said, for some reason, we seem as if a person is asking us to tongue kiss them by just sharing a post that we already appreciate, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Those little things show true support. It shows unity. It shows that, hey, I got your back, because I realize that, hey, this is what you do, right? You want to be able to get clients, right? So if I share a post that Just Star has with her paintings, that's going to maybe make someone say, hey, let me go ahead and check her out, right? So it's those type of things, and the next thing you know, she's selling the painting for $1,500. So now, by me simply sharing that, I helped to draw attention to my sister, and now she has $1,500 to help support her cat, to help support her brother who's going through financial and health situations. So that's what I'm saying. It's those little simple things. If we do that, that shows support, that shows love. So, that's the thing I would recommend. Share other people's stuff, be of support to them, show them by your actions that you got their back. Not just when we on these lives saying, ooh, you're great, and then I post the same poem on Instagram and it's like, okay, I thought it was great, sis. I thought it was great, bro. That's all. But moving on to what I believe is important when it comes to, like hosting, like what you guys are doing. I think that when you are hosting and you have individuals on your show, if you help them to understand that they are valuable, then that makes other people see value in them as well. And that's why, like I said, I appreciate what you guys do, because I believe that you all work hard to try to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I respect what you all do, respect your platform, and why I'm a supporter of your platform.
And I apologize, Andy. We'll talk later about chilling out today. I've just been so excited for this conversation, and when I get excited, I talk over people and I run the rails. But what I wanted to say was, I lost it, Andy. Oh my gosh, Andy, I just lost it.
No, so you know what? Come on, read. Okay.
Integrity. I understand you as a person of integrity. So for you to have agreed to participate in this at all, I already know that means so much to me, because you would not have done this if you didn't respect us at all or thought that it was worthy of your time. And the fact that you gave us this time today, yeah, we're highlighting you, we're honoring you for an hour, but again, you're honoring us, and you're giving us an opportunity to get value, because we've learned so much from all of these interviews that we're doing. I'm gonna play it off like this, telling you that I'm selfish here, that I'm doing these interviews because I'm learning a lot and I'm doing a lot and I'm taking everything from each other by highlighting and pushing you up, because that's how we learn from each other. That's how we grow from each other. And I appreciate everything you just said. And now, Andy, I'm muting myself.
All right, no. So two things. One, I want you to read another piece, but before you did that, my question to you is, when whatever, when we all pass on and we're eating bread and all this stuff, we're upstairs with, in heaven and stuff like that. My question to you is, what are you hoping to leave behind? Is my question. What legacy are you looking to fulfill, to leave behind, that when people look at someone like yourself, they're like, yeah, I remember that guy. I remember that guy because he did A, B, C, D, and E. Like, what is the most important thing to you? And how much of an impact of it do you want to leave, and why is that important?
Powerful. When I die, I want for people to say that this was a person who genuinely cared, genuinely loved, was genuinely a supporter, was genuinely loyal, right? That's what I want people to understand with regards to me, my character, because all of these other things really don't matter, but I want to have made an impact on people's lives, right? And so I have built my life for the last 25 to 28 years around the service of others. And so I want people to understand that this is a man who lived his life serving others. And that's the legacy that I'm trying to leave behind for me as an individual, as an entity. When it comes to my craft, I want people to say that this man was a person who gave everything that he had to his craft, and he tried to help use his experience in craft to help others, right? So it's closely connected with my purpose in life. So my purpose in life comes through my poetry. And I want people to understand that I want for you to be successful virtually as much as I want for myself to be successful. And it's literally coming from a genuine place. I want people to understand that there are literally solid people out here that want to push the craft forward, to change lives. And one of my poems that I say, the final line that I say in it is, I write so that I can glorify God. I write so that I can change lives. I write so that I can shape and restructure the course of history, right? So I'm trying to literally change history with the writings that I put forth. I want people to understand that poetry is a healing factor, right? You become like Wolverine, right? And one of my pieces, I talk about how my poetry is that healing factor. And that's what your poetry can do, and that person's poetry can do. It can be a healing for yourself, and it also can be a healing factor for others. So that's what I want people to realize. This man loved this craft. He gave everything he had to it, and he tried to push other people to take it seriously and to give everything they had to it.
Wow. That's a beautiful thing, man. I'm just trying to absorb.
Thank you.
I'm trying not to talk over anybody, especially with the fact that we have to be authentic and have integrity, and people will come together when we are able to showcase that. But I do want to say this, and I want to echo back to, if you're just joining us, we're wrapping up. We're about to go into our open mic hour, but we were definitely going to end up listening to some amazing closing remarks from our prolific poet. But there are people that want to help others, but we also have to know what we're doing in order to help each other out. And I think that goes back to the three things. And the first one is, you've got to be the best at what you're trying to do, whatever that is. So if we want to help grow this, we have to know how to grow this and keep learning how to grow this. I think you just echoed it so much. You do good, you feel good. When you feel bad, usually it means I'm probably not doing as good as I should be doing. And that typically helps me. Or I go out into nature and reconnect that way. But I think this is such an incredible conversation. Andy, I know you're going to agree with me here. We're definitely going to have to hopefully get a part 2 to somewhere down the line, because I know we have so many more conversations to open up about like content. This was such a great meta. How do we build that audience, build that performance structure? Because if we don't have content for people to enjoy, nobody's going to come out. What's the point? So
Right.
let's hear from you. I'm not going to talk anymore. So when the 9 o'clock hour ends, I'll just end it. So, and we'll flip and change car seats. You know.
So all right, give us another piece, my friend.
Before I go into my final piece, I did want to give a final shout out right quick to Justar, Lonnie, my buddy Mark, who's here. Those are some individuals that have in various ways supported me, throughout this journey. Individuals that show a lot of love and appreciation. So I just definitely wanted to give these individuals a shout for actually being here today. Thank you so much, Lonnie. Much respect to you, Queen. Thank you so much, Mark, for your support of me. Mark has actually seen me perform live in person. He actually was at my show that I featured at in New York when I was on tour back last month. So he got a chance to see an entire set for me live and in color. So thank you for being of support there live and in color and here today.
Are you going to be touring again anytime soon? And if so, where? So people can, anytime you're touring, we're going to be definitely blasting it out. So please, where are you going to be at anytime soon or in the near future?
Yeah, so I hope to do a tour this coming fall. I have to get past some of the things that I got going on now because I got so many shows and events coming up this summer that I have to, make sure that those dates are fulfilled. And then once I do that, then I'll be going on another national tour. But I hope to be going to Houston. I want to hit up Michigan. I also want to go back to New York and Jersey because I was in New York and New Jersey in March and April. I also want to hit up Baltimore, and I'm going to be hitting up Ohio as well. So those are some of the areas that I plan on doing this coming.
But what about, if I can make a recommendation, there's a lot of stuff happening in Tennessee. I know that Nashville area, they got a lot of stuff around there. I don't know if I'm sure I don't need to tell you anything. You mentioned every place you mentioned those people. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where are the pockets? Where is Angela Murray driving this weekend or this summer? Because I only got one more week of work. I can drive across country. I like seeing. I met Gina Carrillo at a live mic open read. I'm here for this shit. I'm happy for this. Ohio, all right. I go to concerts. I'll go one night. I'll go the next night. I'll drive to see somebody twice because that's what we got to do. When you love something, you got to show the love because you're feeling the love and you create the love. But we need to hear this amazing poet. Prolific, thank you so much for joining us. I can continue to talk to you for so much longer, but we want to hear some amazing words from you.
Yes.
To honor this hour with you.
Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you guys. And so you want me to close out with a piece?
Close out with a piece.
Or what? Yeah, please.
Got you. All right, cool. When they did the autopsy on my heart, the medical examiner determined that the cause of death was a broken heart. This piece is dedicated to all those who deal with depression, anxiety, or any other internal struggle. This is dedicated to all those who have attempted or have family members who have attempted suicide. Trust me, I feel you, because my happiness is a remission. It seems as if peace of mind has a restraining order out against me. I need an emotional epidural because I've lived with pain so long that she and I are considered as having a common law marriage. And I'm going to give you all a panoramic view of my soul. And what you're going to see is that I'm a living, walking, breathing tragedy. That I feel as if nobody loves or cares for me. I'm feeling melancholy and crestfallen. And it's crazy because sometimes I think to myself that if I was to die today, most people will come to my funeral not because I'm dead, but to make sure that I'm dead. And that's why for me, every morning time is just a mourning time, and I find myself mourning time and time again because of the things that I've gone through. And sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in the sea of pain emotionally and mentally, and that potentially tsunami-like problems could sweep me away spiritually. Every day, I feel like I'm being waterboarded. Sometimes I wish I would have been aborted. Because interiorly, I feel as if my pride is dead inside. I've tried and cried and strive to get better. However, my pillow gets wetter and wetter, with tears of pain. The strain sometimes seems unbearable. Am I scared? For sure. Because I'm going through so many things that people don't know about. My mind and heart screams and shouts because of the dilution of justice. It feels like a million orangutans attacking me, dressed in designer suits with cleavers in their hands, hacking me like it's their sacred duty to dispatch me, leaving my mangled heart in a New York alley. Rat meat. Maybe it's true what my family said. Maybe I am just better off dead. But then I read what the book of Matthew said, that he that endures to the end will be saved. So I wait and allow myself to become a slave to the word of God and allow it to affect me so that the spirit of this world won't infect me, and happiness, it won't neglect me. But then I thought to myself, in addition to that from now on, I really need to focus in on the good and the positive things that I have going on in my life. So I promised myself from now on, never to neglect the numerous nice, never-ending reasons I have to be happy. And if I do that, then I will have victory, and then nothing will ever be able to stop me. Unstoppable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm just going to switch it. Andy, when you open up the open mic, I'm sure you have a few words that you want to share about what an incredible piece. Thank you again so much. I look forward to seeing you perform live. That's definitely on my bucket list. I know Andy, when he's coming out to Jersey, depends on the time. Maybe I'll make it out there then.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
Brother, I just want to say thank you so much for that piece. Thank you for showing your vulnerability to us and your heart of service, and the fact that you are able to sympathize, and the fact that you say you dedicated this piece to those who have been through the same things. And that, so much respect for you, my friend. I appreciate you, man, and may the Lord continue to bless you and keep you safe, my friend.
And to everybody else,
Thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for saying yes to us, man.